All right, so we are watching the Monday night Open League game between Halifax and Dartmouth. Halifax is in dark. They just scored. We're actually coming into this a couple of minutes late. So Halifax, the dark team, is now up 4-0.
That's right. Halifax off to a strong start. Dartmouth, a couple early turnovers, but looking to score here.
And they finally get on the board. And so that was a nice huck caught by Nathan Butt in the end zone, guarded by Jay Mill.
I believe that's Jonas for the Dartmouth team, actually, catching that point.
It is. So there's two people I don't know, and I probably will mix up their names a few times. So that was a turn. That was a throw straight to Bronk, who actually hasn't played Ultimate in 10 months, but is looking pretty strong.
Yeah, a bit of a miscommunication there from the Halifax receiver and the thrower.
So Bronk's looking. He's about halfway up the field now. He finds Paul Trevor. It's worth noting that big, thick blue line is actually it's in the end zone, and it's also in the court. And he finds Liam Archibald in the corner. So now it is 4-2 for Dark. Jay Mill takes in the disc. He finds Joey. Joey's a lefty, which always opens up some fun options. He launches to try to get it to Josh. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Liam's right on him, and he jumps a little early. So now Liam is going to take in the disc in the corner.
Liam Archibald, athletic player, always tough to test that kind of matchup and able to get up and get a D there. But Dark gets a D going the other way. A nice help defense from Jamie there.
Unfortunately, Jamie taps in the disc a little bit early, and so it ends up working out fine. And then the launch to Hans bounces off his hand. Dave Archibald is sauntering up to go get the disc to bring it in for Dartmouth.
Yeah, that was a good attempt there for a goal. That kind of blady flick, what you want to use in these indoor games. Just bounced off the hand of the receiver, unfortunately, but definitely the right look there.
Another big launch. Chap pretends to jump, but doesn't actually do anything, and Bronk easily catches that. We actually can't see the score very easily in the video, but I believe now it's 4-3.
Teams trading hammers here. Dave able to get that D. Maybe not the matchup you want to test there by Chap, but looking to be a little aggressive here with his hammer choice.
I think Chap kind of knows, too, because he looked back at the camera briefly. But you know what? People like to huck. So some good pressure there from Dark. White is struggling to make a few passes, and then there's a weird collision from the two smallest guys on the field, Webby and Chap. No call, though, so that's going to be a turn. And I believe that Prime, fellow that I kind of know, is going to pick up the disc.
Yeah, looking to get the disc moving here, score in the end zone. Just being patient right now, Dark, not forcing anything. White's playing good defense, Dark looking to just find an open man.
And he does. He finds Prime. He's just outside the end zone. He's being patient. He's looking. I believe he's going to reset it back to Josh. Now they're going to try to figure out something else because White's playing nice end zone defense here.
Nice trust throw from Prime there in the end zone. Knows his receiver, Jamie's going to come down with that every time.
And he does. So now White's taking it into the corner. And another launch. Big shock there. This one a little bit too far out of reach of Jonas's hands.
Yeah, Jonas with a nice cut there. That indoor cut coming up the break side. A really smart move. And the throw is pretty close to what you want. Just a little bladier than I think the thrower was intending.
So we have Joey. He's about halfway up the field now. Drew Brazil has the disc right on the sideline. He's going to find Josh for the reset, who's going to quickly pass it to Hans. It's nice to see really quick disc movement happening here, which is pretty key for indoor Ultimate.
Nice throw there by Drew into the end zone. Dark really taking advantage of the break side, those scoobers, those blady flicks, really pressuring that White defense. It's hard to take away everything on these indoor floors, and Dark is taking advantage of that.
Certainly. So White trying to be patient, but they launch it up. Dave manages to come down with that one in an awkward little catch, and then a brother-to-brother connection, Dave to Liam in the end zone.
Yeah, pretty incredible catch there by Dave. Always known for those highlight plays, and then takes a smart pass to Liam.
So we have Chap bringing in the disc. Brady's marking him. I think that's a really fun matchup to watch. They're kind of similar in a lot of ways. And so Chap brings it down in a huge catch over Breton. He's right outside the end zone line, and he easily finds, I believe that's Nathan for the score.
Yeah, I believe so. Grant with a trusty flick blade again hits Chap. Chap has to make a great catch to bring that down, but definitely the right look there, and Chap with a great play to keep the possession going.
Nice catch for sure. So we have the commander of the field, Dave, with the disc. He's going to look up, and it's going to be a bit out of Bronk's reach. Prime right on him in case he does make an attempt to catch. Going to be a lot of these. The disc, I was filming this, and the disc came at me a lot this night.
Yeah, White's definitely looking for that deep game. They're 3 or 4 flick hucks now. Couple of the turns early on that we saw, and they're really testing that deep matchup, which I think will pay off later in the game. But now Dark's on offense. Nice scuba there, easy point.
All right, so we have White bringing the disc. Unfortunately, I don't know what the score is from here, but we have Brady with the disc. He's looking for some options. Taking their time taking it up the field, but they're waiting until they have the right pass. Foss is looking now. J. Mill does a good job of protecting the end zone briefly. Now he's going to come closer up to his guy.
Yeah, we see a couple of the Dark defenders, when they're near the end zone, they're tight to their guy, and as soon as their guy leaves the end zone space, they hang around for an extra second or two looking to pressure that. But finally, White's able to find an open corner there, Dave, with an easy catch off the hammer from Travis Foster for the point.
So we're going to have Kyle Chapman bringing in the disc. He's going to bring it to the middle. He's guarded by Greg Webb. Looks like Drew is cutting away. Grant comes under. Easy pass there. Paul Trevor is guarding Grant. He finds, is that Jamie in the middle?
I believe that's...
Or Drew?
Looks like Jamie.
We have a small screen to look at, unfortunately. That was Jamie, yeah.
Yeah, the White defenders, when they're guarding the break side cutter, they're off a step or two, and Dark is taking advantage of that, always looking to attack that break side and get some motion going that way.
So we have Chap once again with the disc right in the middle. He's looking for some options. There's no Dark in the end zone for this moment, so he's probably hoping someone will go in there just to even clear some space, because having 4 outside the end zone is tough. An unfortunate drop there, obviously, but a good look. And now he's right back on D, hoping to make it back.
Yeah, as you said, an unfortunate drop there, but we know Nathan's got good hands and expecting to come away with a few more of those in the end zone.
So Brady, always a very crafty thrower. He finds Foss, and then a nice pass into Jonas in the end zone. Foss with a couple of those nice little hammers now for easy points.
Yeah, White's definitely settling in. They're being a little more patient than they started off as, and taking those easier looks. Those hammers are really paying off for them.
Definitely. So Nathan brings the disc up, or he receives the disc in the middle. He finds Nick, and unfortunately a huge miscommunication where Nick threw it to a space where there was no one within 25 yards. I think he was hoping Josh was going to cut that way, and just a miscue to leave that disc go straight into the bleachers. Yeah,
you see that a little bit more often in Indoor Ultimate. The space is so small, you can't really wait for your cutter to get 3 or 4 steps separation. You kind of have to throw early on. And Derek's been pretty good so far of hitting those, and that one obviously just a complete miscommunication.
So I think it's worth mentioning here that when I'm filming, I have a bad tendency of turning my head and not turning the camera. So I did miss that catch by Paul Trevor, and it will happen a couple of more times in the video that I missed the things that happen in that corner.
Yeah, the White thrower just seeing that the defender was not really looking at the disc and just throwing over his head for an easy point. And I think that's Dave there for another big D. Dark keeps testing him on defense, and he's proving up to the task every time.
Yeah, Dave definitely gets a lot of Ds in this because people are not realizing that he's going to make up that space, and he's very lanky, so he can definitely get up there.
Especially as we see with the Dark throwers are throwing more to the open side where Dave has already got a bit of a step on his matchup. So maybe they want to look more throwing towards the break side. But we see one on offense here now, and another hammer.
And a really nice D by Drew there. He knew that throw was coming, and he was right there waiting to bite on it when Jonas was trying to go up and attack it, and Drew was right there to stop it. Well positioned.
And credit to the mark there. I believe that was Nick or Jamie on the mark, putting their hands up, making that hammer come out a little bit higher than the thrower wanted, which definitely led to that D.
Certainly. So we have Bronk matching up against Jamie here. Jamie's looking for an option, not really seeing much, but luckily Grant comes with a little burst up to get a good under.
Yeah, Grant McDonald, their big energy player, always going to be cutting hard, getting open late in the stall, which is huge.
Got those young legs,
Big scuba here, right on the money.
Really, really nice catch there, too, by Nathan.
Yeah, great cut. Going up the open side, then slash into that break side corner. Key cut in this indoor small 4-on-4 field.
So we have Breton. Big shock there. He throws a huck, and there's a bit of a sky battle, but Dave does not end up coming down with it. He's guarded by Prime. Prime's looking as if he thinks there might be a call. If you want to give us some insight into that
there
moment.
was definitely some contact there. I think I was more worried about after we both landed, I kind of bumped Dave, and he kind of fell into the bleachers a little bit, so I want to make sure he was okay.
Classic Jody move.
Yeah, that flick huck coming a little low, a little bladey, not floating as much, and both Dave and Prime forced to go up early. And unfortunately, Dave isn't able to come down with that due to the pressure.
But another look, we will not be deterred. And unfortunately, Paul Trevor drops that one, but that one was kind of right in the red basket. So a little bit of an easier catch. Unfortunately, the same result. But White is not being deterred. They are going to look for those deep shots all night long.
I mean, they've got guys in separation, so it seems to be working for them. An unfortunate drop there, but you have to imagine 9 times out of 10, that's an easy point.
Definitely. Dark being a little bit more patient. They're not looking for the deep shot nearly as often. They're kind of working it around the field.
Yeah, this White team has a number of fast guys. Paul Trevor, Liam Archibald, Dave Archibald, even Brady McPhee is a very quick, agile player. And so anytime they have they think a good matchup, they're just going to look to strike deep. Whereas this Dark team is a little bit more experienced, a little more veteran, looking to move the disc and use that disc skill to their advantage. Nice pressure there by Nathan. I don't know if he gets a hand on it, but just forces that disc out of Bronk's hand.
So Nathan's going to bring the disc. He finds an easy pass to Chap. Chap's looking around to see his options, and he finds Grant. Once again, nice quick disc movement here. He finds Joey, so that's youngster to youngster, which is always fun. And then right over to Nathan. An unfortunate drop again, but a nice look.
Yeah, I mean, you guys opening the end zone, you're definitely going to throw that every time. And once again, another unfortunate drop, but not a big deal.
No.
We're seeing the Dark team really using their scoobers. You wonder if White ever thinks about switching the force, maybe forcing some more high release flicks or something like that. Scoobers seem a little easy right now.
Funny moment here. So Nick did not tap the disc in, did not really slow down, and threw it before he got to the end zone line. Jonas actually doesn't call him on it, but Bronk in the middle of the field is kind of like, come on now, Nick, you know better than that. And so we have to reset the disc, so he's going to bring it in. He's going to opt for a different throw this time and a legal start to the play.
Yeah, it turns out rules are a bit more than just a suggestion, but Dark's fine, able to get their offense going, and another nice huck to Grant there in the end zone makes it a nice grab, toe in the back line.
So White's bringing it in the middle. They're all moving around to get their cuts, and Paul Trevor definitely finds some space for a moment, but Josh is right on his tail.
I believe there may have been a switch there, 2 Dark defenders, or at least a little bit of helping off each other. I think Dark recognizing that White is looking for that deep shot every time, and so trying to help each other out.
Yeah, that was a great heads up. Bit of a weird situation there. So Liam had a really nice throw to Foss, but Grant sort of tripped, I guess, as he was trying to play defense, and Foss wasn't quite ready for it, and so that ends up being a throwaway.
Yeah, I think the mark there, a nice throw by Liam, but the mark stepped out just enough to force that break throw a little bit wider than Liam was intending. Mm-hmm. And another scuba here from the Dark team. Nice grab there in the end zone by Jamie, I believe.
All right, so we'll see. Oh, White does not opt for a huck this time. They opt for a turnover instead. So that's a bit unfortunate right on the end zone line. It's going to be a good opportunity for Dark. I think we have Joey bringing that in.
Something to note here, the White team is playing down 3 or 4 players. They picked up Bronk as a sub, obviously, but as the game goes on, they're going to get more and more tired, and you're going to see probably a few more of those simple throwing errors pop up.
Yeah, you definitely can see the effects of that throughout the game for any team, and especially after a 10-month hiatus from Frisbee, none of us are necessarily at our peak fitness, and so even people who normally don't want as many subs are probably hoping to have a nice full bench these days.
Yeah, speaking of errors there, we see a drop by Dark in the end zone, and then Brady with a nice hammer to Bronk in the end zone. Easy point there.
Yeah, that's a money shot right to Bronk. Joey's going to find Grant. And Grant is going to immediately launch it. He's going to throw it to Prime. Kind of an awkward little pancake catch there when it was falling away, but he manages to reel it in, and so that's another point for Dark.
Yeah, that's the trick with those blade flicks. They're a little bit harder to receive than you're used to, but another great vision throw by Grant. Just seeing that corner and putting it there every time.
Some real tight defense there from Grant now. Like we said, the effort's always very high from him. And then Chap really attempts to intercept that pass. Bit of an awkward one there, but Liam manages to catch it. But then a really awkward throw, I guess, where Liam didn't really have a chance to catch that one, and Hans ends up with the hands of a 25-year-old grabbing that one and starting Dark on their offense again.
Yeah, I think that throw was actually for Jonas, who was making a really nice slash cut across the end zone. Beautiful hammer here by Grant. Unfortunate drop there. And Liam brought his defender Hans there, who got the
Hmm.
D. So definitely tricky, tight end zones. You really don't want to be crowding and bringing too many defenders in.
It's also worth noting that this is pretty early in the season, and so all the teams don't have the chemistry that they'll probably have in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and so we're still kind of working out some of those bugs as you get used to each other.
Yeah,
This is a nice stall zero throw for an immediate point from Josh to Drew.
And that's a harder throw than I think Josh made it look there. That inside backhand to the open side corner. I mean, he hucks it without much force on that at all. So very impressive throw by Josh there.
Yeah, that looked effortless for sure. And then another one. So that was Josh to Nick for another easy point from Dark. Disc from the ladies' field flies onto the field, but Nick just gives it a side little shimmy so that it gets off and there's no stop and play.
Yeah, I think we see these white players in the court are getting a little tired now. We're seeing multiple errors, multiple defensive breakdowns. Dark has put on a bit of a run here, ending with that point there.
So another launch. So this one, once again, a case of where I didn't necessarily turn the camera the way my head turned. Maybe Chap was a little excited. I think Chap knows he made a mistake. He gives the camera a little sigh, just a bit too excited, and throws it out the back side of the end zone when trying to hit Prime.
Definitely very frustrated there. You see that a lot of the white players were trying to sub off. As I say, they were a little tired, leaving Prime open in the end zone with no defenders. Chap trying to rush that disc, and unfortunately just hammers it double helix right out the sideline.
A valiant effort, but it didn't quite work out. So Paul's looking for some options there now. He ends up resetting the disc.
Yeah, White's doing a good job here of isolating one cutter kind of in the deeper half of the end zone. Unfortunate throw. Ambitious vision from Brady, but a little too spicy. But White's doing a really good job on offense of isolating one cutter, which pressures that deep look. And you're always afraid as a defender to be the only defender deep, which is giving them open unders every time.
Prime's looking for some options. He opts for a Blady throw that is intercepted by Dave?
I think it was Travis Foster actually getting
Foss,
that D.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
That flick blade a little short, not quite getting to the space that he wanted to get to.
Yeah, not quite what he was looking for.
No.
Another throw, Liam reels that one in. He's just a couple meters outside the end zone. He's waiting for an option. Finds Webby for the reset. Webb considers the hammer briefly, sees that it's Prime on Brady, maybe not the height matchup you want. Brady manages to get open, and he finds, with a crafty little throw, he finds Bronk in the end zone.
Yeah, that White did a good job there of leaving that whole middle and break side of the end zone open, and Brady's able to just squeeze that scooper in there for a pretty easy point.
So Dark, working their way up the field patiently again, finds Prime for the reset. Prime immediately finds Nick, who looks for Josh. I believe that's a turn in the corner. Or maybe it was a catch, sorry. Our screen lagged for a moment there.
I believe it was a point. It looked like a good, that break throw from Prime to Nick, and then Nick using that break to keep the disc moving. And either a drop by Josh, or should have been an easy point.
The fun thing about this game, and I guess many indoor 4 games, is that it's a very fast pace. The points are going up quick, so that's another one from White. Webby reels that one in. And so, it just ends up being a very high scoring and high paced game, which is always very fun to watch. It takes, one pass to get it to the end zone sometimes, just like this. So that was Josh to Joey. He has to tap it in because he was just on the line. But he's going to reset it to Chap. He's going to find Joey again. Joey once again looking for an option.
Yeah, Dark being patient once again in the end zone, taking their time, trying to find the open man. And they eventually do. Miscommunication there on D, and I believe that's Jamie's able to get wide open for a point.
So we're about 20 minutes into the game now. It'll be half in just a few minutes. Hopefully I'll be able to get a score update at that time. Try to zoom in on the screen and see what it says. The boys' legs are always in front of the scorecard, so it's a bit difficult. So this is another throw from White that goes just a little bit out of reach. Dave's hand did hit it, so not an impossible catch by any means, but definitely a bit more spicy than they were intending.
Yeah, Dave sporting his new glasses with the tie in the back. You wonder if that threw him off enough to doink that catch in the end zone.
So we're going to have young versus old. And a brief appearance by myself. So Grant's bringing in, marked by Dave. He finds Prime, wearing number 23 there.
Oh, spin move with the disc, able to create that separation from the mark. Grant with a trust throw, an easy point.
That was Nathan,
not
actually.
quite in the point. Oh, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great throw by Nathan. Yeah, really nice vision.
Brief intermission, I was trying to get the disc from behind the bleachers. I did not, and we missed whatever happened.
It looks like it was a turnover in the end zone. Yeah, we see these cutters on the break side cycling deep.
This is a really nice catch from Paul Trevor there. Grant's coming in pretty hot, and Nathan is right on him, but Paul manages to reel that one in. So I believe we're now into the second half. The video just kind of blipped for a second, and so we're into the second half now. We have White with the disc. I don't believe there's been any points since half, but unfortunately I wouldn't be able to tell you what the score is.
Yeah, White, easy point there in the end zone. Really cycling the disc, waiting to get a nice cutter in the end zone. Brady there, slashing across that open space.
Yeah, you'll see Brady is in the end zone actually quite a bit in the second half. He makes a lot of stuff happen in there, just really well-timed cuts, and the White players find him. So Dark, once again, trying to be patient. They're not shooting nearly as much as White is, and that's working out well. Nick's pivoting around looking for an option. He finds Prime. Prime finds Joey, blue to blue. A nice little pass up to Chap. Liam tries to make a play on it briefly, is not able to do that. Joey's going to reset it. He's not going to do anything crazy. Once again, lots of nice passes and patience.
Yeah, we saw Chap being guarded by Liam in the end zone. Probably not the matchup Dark wants, so he comes out, gets the disc, looking to be the assist man on this one. Dark's just cycling, bringing the defenders out, taking their time, not rushing anything.
Once again, that blue line is in. It's just a little bit confusing sometimes. Grant now looking. He considers throwing it to Joey, but Bronk's waiting for that pass to happen. Takes a minute to get up onto the mark.
We see Josh has come on the field now. The good thing about this indoor continuous, Dark's able to sub while they have the disc there without any potential mismatches or losing their men on defense. And so Josh comes on, a fresh offensive player. Unfortunately, a little drop there by Joey. Turn the disc over.
Yeah, that's definitely part of the strategy with indoor continuous ultimate like this. The offense can be as patient as they want, and they can continue to sub as much as you want. And realistically, the defense is not going to have the same opportunity, and so you can really wear them down that way.
And you see, Dark is continuing that flick force. They probably reasoned that although White was looking to get those flick hucks and those hammers, they've been turning over enough of them that it might be worth it to keep that force. But they may have to adjust. As you see, a hammer goes up here, and they do get the point. They may have to adjust if White's able to kind of zero in, focus in, and start catching a few more of those flick hucks and hammers.
Definitely. It's all about making those adjustments throughout the game, depending on what the offense is doing to you. But so far, things are still going well for Dark. A big pass straight up to Hans, and Hans is now looking. He's looking for some options. I think he's going to find Chap behind him. Oh, actually some good D from Dave, and so he ends up finding Nick instead. Nick has no close mark at the moment, at least. He's going to find Chap.
Yeah, White defenders are switching, being a little poachy. Dark's finally able to break them down. I noticed Nathan, who had subbed on there and is now off, taking his sweater off. I believe he was wearing a long sleeve sweater, so the game is definitely heating up as everyone's working hard.
So we have Liam Archibald bringing in the disc. He finds Breton. Surprised Brady didn't huck it, but instead he finds Dave right on the sideline.
Chap with a very wide mark. I believe the disc is called out. Liam trying to toe the line, but
a beautiful catch nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. That hammer just a tiny bit wide. Some discussion now about whether he was in or out. I think the final resolution is that he's out of bounds.
I think so as well. So Prime ends up having to take it in right on the sideline there with the curtain behind him. That sometimes can be a little bit challenging. Not for him, though. So he finds a nice reset pass, and now the disc is in Chap's hands. It's going to look nice low pass. Maybe it wasn't that low when it came out of Chap's hands, but it ended up low when Prime caught it.
Yeah, sometimes those shorter players have a harder time throwing in the breadbasket of the taller players. Oh, Grant's able to, it probably wouldn't have been in the first time, but bobbles it unintentionally and able to get the point. Brady with a low huck makes his receiver have to come in under and catch that instead of milking it to the end zone.
But it works. White is now in their half once again. Trying to be a little bit more patient, I think. Webby resets it. He finds Foss to Brenton. Quite the lineup out there right now for White. Strong 4.
Brady working on his split squats there, one leg out. Interesting throwing moves, but looks like they get the point there.
Yeah, nice quick one right to the corner. A classic indoor throw. So we have Nathan, once again you said, he's sleeveless now. Unfortunately, he throws it right to Webby's track.
I think maybe used to the weight of the sleeves. Now he's untethered and juiced that throw a little bit too much.
Webby finds Paul Trevor. He finds Liam. And Liam's going to toss it up. And I believe Paul Trevor's going to reel that one in again.
Fantastic throw. Blady, but smooth. Doesn't come in too hard. Just easy catch for Paul and the defender. Left a little short there.
Yeah, Paul Trevor definitely always good for a lot of points in these leagues. He's maybe, I would say probably a little bit of an underrated player. For the number of goals he'll put up per game is really going to help your team.
Yeah, he's a fast guy, and he's got a great nose for open space. An unfortunate drop there by Nick. Just slipped out of his hands. Maybe a little sweaty. As we said, the court is heating up. An interesting scooper choice by Brady. Maybe rushing that a little bit. Can't be too happy with the way that throw came out.
He must have saw an open player on the female court next door, and so tried to get the disc over to the other end zone as fast as possible, but that didn't really work out.
Great handlers, they see an open receiver and the disc comes out of their hands without any conscious thought, but definitely not what he wanted to do there.
So Prime is going to rifle a big one off, just as has been happening all game for the White team. Unfortunately, that was just out of the reach of Jamie's hands.
Yeah, which is hard to do. Jamie's a big, fast receiver, so you're not throwing very well if you're throwing out of his grasp. But
such is life. Even the best have to make mistakes sometimes.
Occasionally, it does happen. Foss with a nice flick here. Unfortunately, stays out of bounds a little bit too long and unable to get a pretty easy D there.
The dramatic D with the windmill arms. So we have Grant. He is halfway up the field or up the court right now. He's going to reset it back to Prime. Showing lots of patience. He's going to give it right back to Grant. Nice little cut right across. Going to go across the field again, using all of the field, which is a nice move by Dark. And then a nice little pass there by Nathan to find Grant in the end zone. Very slick.
Very, very nice. Catching that, moving from the open side towards the break side, and use that momentum for his throw to just get it past his defender and get the easy point there for Grant.
And so we did finally figure out the score. And so right now it is 20-18 for Dark.
Yeah, Bronk, a nice around flick that makes an easy catch for Brady to get that point on the board. Only down by 2 now.
Yeah, both teams high energy, high effort right now. They both want to win. There's a call, I believe. Actually, not sure what that call is. I'm not sure if you know.
I don't know. Maybe travel or pick potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So brief pause in the game, and then an unfortunate turnover by Dark right by where the subs are coming in. So White is going to pick that up. Brady has it. Kind of blends in with the sideline there for a second.
Yeah, that's the 4th or 5th kind of just easy drop there for the Dark team. They definitely haven't, well, speaking of the devil, it's one for White, but definitely some guys, having not played a lot in the past couple months, not quite as dialed in with their catches as you would expect.
So yeah, as you say, Dave had a bit of an awkward drop there, and then gets scored on by Chap, and then a really funny interaction happens with the guys. Chap doesn't know if Dave wants it in his hand, wants it on the ground, doesn't want to offend Dave. He ends up laying it on the ground so Dave can pick it up.
That might be a veteran move. Maybe Chap knew some of his defenders were subbing out there a little tired, and so he's just trying to delay the game before they can get the new defenders back on the court.
Just distract him with his charisma.
It doesn't work, though, because White scores an easy break side look there.
So we're about 2/3 of the way through the game now. Both teams still putting up a lot of energy, a lot of effort. Maybe a few more miscues and drops as the game goes on, as people are getting tired, but not that one. That one was a beautiful pass from Prime to Josh right in the end zone. Some money.
Josh, a little kip up there. Happy to be out in the field with both hamstrings looking strong. Nice deep strike there by him. Derek's playing some good defense here, showing in all the options, forcing a late huck. Works out pretty well though, White with the point.
Another point by Brady in the end zone. As I said, that happened a lot in the second half.
Yeah, it looks like Derek has switched their force now to forcing back in, but Webb was able to get that around flick off for the point.
It's tough. You can't stop everything indoors, and so that was a bit of an interception there, but the disc goes high in the air, and Hans managed to track it down to keep the possession for Dark.
Yeah, Derek's had a couple unlucky drops, so they get their luck back in order with that grab.
You can always rely on Hans for working hard for that disc. It's a bit of an unfortunate error there, just out of the reach of Nathan there. Didn't recognize him without his sleeves.
Yeah, I think Brady, as the downfield defender, tight enough to Nathan that Chap felt he had to throw that a little bit further than he might have wanted to, and Nathan not able to get there in time. Another break, flick huck into traffic, unfortunately, though. A little too bladey. Derek could get that D.
It is flick huck time right now, so that was a lefty from Joey, as they always are. If the sound was on for the video itself, then you would have actually heard Chap yell, "Drew, attack," because he could see that Foss was coming in, but Drew didn't realize that he was coming. And so Foss just got that little tip of the disc so that it was out of Drew's hands.
Yeah, I don't know that Drew could have done much there without going into the body of Foss. Foss able to get up and make a big play on that disc.
Definitely. So Bronk is going to bring in that disc. He's going to find an easy throw to Dave. Dave being nice and chilly with the disc. Puts it right back to Bronk. They're working well together.
Yeah, you saw Dave when he caught it there, wanted to turn into the field, throw that break side flick, but Drew with the mark going out wide, able to stop that throw, but unfortunately unable to stop that sky grab by Dave.
So Dark already up to the half line again. Hans with a nice little hammer. Josh catches that one in the end zone. An easy point for Dark. Dave back with the disc in his hands, and unfortunately that one's way too low, so he rifles that one at the ground. Webby unable to get underneath it.
Yeah, it looks like both teams have switched their forces here. Derek hitting a few of those early scoobers. Now they're starting to hit the hammers, whereas White is kind of hit or miss with their around flicks, so interesting to see how the teams react to the change of the force and how they're attacking the break side.
Definitely. So we're going to see Prime bring that in after that throwaway. So Grant has it about halfway up the court. He finds Prime again.
Yeah, gesturing to his downfield cutters, not seeing what he wants, and so trying to be the general there.
Yeah, never shy about telling the other players what he wants. And a really nice little lefty to find Nick in the end zone, wide open. Very casual, very cool.
Nick with a lot of space there, so just looking to get the disc over there to him as fast as possible without anything too fancy.
This is another case where I turned my head and not the camera briefly, so that was my bad, of course. It was just a simple pass from Foss to Brady.
Brady showing off some of his throwing ability with a nice fake, gets his mark way out of position, and then a nice push pass to hit that break side cutter.
Brady does love a push pass.
Never seen a push pass he didn't like.
Got both Archibalds on the field. That was a dangerous situation.
Yeah, a little two-man game with the Archibalds there. Liam hitting Dave on the break side. Usually, once that break side throw has been hit, you get an easy look, but Dark over-committing to stopping that break side look, and Liam just waltzing in the end zone for a nice little floaty pass there by Dave. And there's a pick downfield there. Stops the flow by Derek. Nice vision throw there by Joey. Sees Drew has a step on his defender. His defender's not aware where the disc is. Just puts that out into space, and Drew's able to run that down for the point.
Unfortunately, not nice vision by the camera woman. Didn't quite get that one, but and almost miss another catch there as well. But Brady reels that one in. Nice hops in the end zone for, God, I think that's his 4th or 5th point this half.
Yeah, I think we're seeing one of the big differences between these two teams. White, that Dartmouth team, really trusting their downfield receivers. When they have one step going, they just put out that huck, and we see Brady there makes an easy grab. They've hit a couple of those, whereas Dark is not quite as trusting with their hucks and looking to just work it a little bit more.
Yeah, they're certainly looking to play a more patient game. As you can see here now, they're taking their time. Chap surveying the end zone, doesn't see what he wants. It's going to look reset. He finds Prime again.
Yeah, losing some yards there, but this indoor court doesn't matter nearly as much. Able to score from basically anywhere. So
exactly. White doing a good job defending in the end zone. Chap keeps looking, trying to find something, and eventually he finds a very easy pass where Nick just has to stand there and receive it.
Yeah, we saw it was in the corner. We saw Nick striking hard to the opposite corner. Then we lost sight of him, but he comes back in. Clearly lost the defender with a nice 7 cut there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the patience is being rewarded for sure. Grant tries to make a bid on that one, doesn't quite get there.
Yeah, unfortunately I put the wrong force on there. Luckily not burned too bad as Dave's not able to find anything.
Always tricky when you change the force partway through the game. Takes a lot of internal reminders to try not to mess that up.
Yeah, we see me here on Derek just poaching off as we see Dave catch it. Not wanting to get scored on, but Webb with a nice throw, and they eventually managed to get that point in.
Grant quickly picks up the disc to get it moving. There's always kind of different approaches to how fast you want to get the disc moving, but in this case it works very well because he finds Prime, then immediately busts it to the end zone and gets a point with Liam on him, which is always a nice accomplishment as well. Two very fast players, very fun players to watch.
Yeah, that's a really dangerous cut when you throw kind of that just that basic dump to your side and then just take off deep. It's a hard cut to stop unless you're really prepared for it.
Definitely.
I believe the score is either tied at this point or Dark is up by 1. A very close game. Has been trading points for the most part. There's only a few minutes left in this game.
So Brady, I don't know if he actually got a hand on that one or not, but he definitely put a lot of pressure on Hans for that catch, and that results in the turnover. Then Bronco throws it up, and a really nice catch by Dave. Hard to imagine that you could be mad about that one. That one, even though it was a little bit in traffic.
Yeah,
really
usually
nice.
that open side hammer, really not what you want to throw, but he saw the matchup, Hans guarding Dave. Hans has a few years on Dave, and Dave's got a few inches on Hans, so not a terrible idea to put that up to him.
Yeah, it's hard not to trust Dave with those kind of catches.
Yeah, we see Chap cutting there. He's able to shake his defender and get just a step going towards that open side, but Nick throws the disc a little bit behind him, and Paul Trevor able to come up with that D, which is pretty crucial at this point in the game.
Certainly. I do want to commend Dark in this instance. They're still being very patient, which is nice. A lot of times, there's under 5 minutes left now, I believe, and teams start to get frantic, and things do feel a little more chaotic. The energy was definitely up, but Dark is still doing a good job, and now White's actually practicing patience here as well, which is nice. I think everyone is realizing now the value of a possession, because as we said, it's either tied or a 1-point game at this point.
I notice White here, especially Brady and Liam, doing a really good job using the disc fakes to move their mark around and open up some of these around flicks and scoobers. So those little things that they're doing to get an advantage. We see a timeout there by Dark.
So we're back from the timeout, so now I believe there's just over 4 minutes left maybe in the game. So Dark, once again, trying to be patient, trying to move it slowly. Grant finds Joey. Joey finds Josh. Got a solid 4 out there right now for Dark. Grant's looking. Nice little pass to Josh. Fine in the middle. Right now there's no one in the end zone, so it's going to be tough to score.
Yeah, Dark may be a little bit too patient in terms of their cutting. They're all trying to make space for each other, but no one's actually being dangerous in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine as long as they take their time and they'll eventually get someone there. Nice cut by Nathan, able to attack that break side.
Mm-hmm. Right on the line there. Easy pass back to Grant. And a nice little rip from Prime.
Nice trust throw from Grant. Knows his receiver is a little bit taller, a little bit bigger, able to get the body around his defender and make that grab.
Prime gives a little wink to the camera.
It's always nice to show the camera some love after a bit of a play.
All right, funny one coming up here. So just as you'll notice, there's a disc from the women's league game that slides in, and kind of made a joke with Brady at the time that maybe that distracted him, and that's why he threw that at the bleachers on the ground to nobody. So Josh McDonald kindly gives back the disc, thinking that because of the disc on the field, Brady should get the disc back. Brady humbly sends it back again, thinking, I made that throw and that was going to be a turnover regardless. But Josh brings it back again, and it's decided actually to give White the disc back one more time, which is kind of just a funny little interaction, especially at the end of the game here.
Yeah, generally in this league, you've got two games going on side by side. If a disc comes on, for everyone's safety, just stop the play and send it back. So, Dark a little bit of spirit there to send the disc back after not a great throw by Brady, you could say.
And this actually ends up being a crucial moment in the game. So, as you'll see, White gets to maintain possession, which with only a couple of minutes left.
Down by one, I believe.
They are down by one at this point, and so they're being very patient. They realize the value that this possession has, and then a beautiful catch by Bronk. Yeah,
once again, that hammer to the open side, they're really not afraid. If they see a good receiver in the end zone, they're putting it up no matter where they are.
And so now the game is tied, and I think it's, it's a tight game, and so that was a really nice catch from Bronk to tie it up. Said we have under 2 minutes to go now. You can actually see the clock in the background there. It says 8:53. The game's over at 8:55.
The foul here by Travis knocks the disc out of Jamie's hands, but get the disc back into play. And you can tell these players are a little bit tired. They're, it's been a long game, not a lot of subs, and so the cutting is not quite as sharp. But Chap with a fantastic layout to save the possession there.
Certainly, really good play by Chap to keep that possession. Josh looking around for some options.
Yeah, Dark's moving it really well here. Great seal on the mark by Liam to stop that break side throw. White's defensive pressure is up to the task right now as Dark just keeps moving the disc around.
So Dark moving the disc around a lot, made a lot of passes, and then Joey tries to put this one up in the end zone, and the most unfortunate drop of the game, I would say. Poor old Grant's going to be thinking about that one for a little while, just off the tip of his fingers.
Yeah, we don't see it there, but he does drop that. Unfortunately, it was a nice pass by Joey, leading him out into space.
Yeah, right at the back of the end zone. So White now has possession again. There's under a minute to go. We're still tied up, as we said. I believe the score is 28-28. Nice high-scoring game for about 50 minutes or 45 minutes of play.
Yeah, it was a nice thought by Brady looking to hit that flick to the break side corner, but a little too low, a little too flat, and Dave's unable to get there in time.
So Dark is going to tap the disc in. I, when watching this, was expecting a big huck, but I actually don't think that they realized there was only a few seconds left.
Yeah, the players on the court did not realize that time was running out, and we see here that
time is over.
The time is now gone, and the score will stay a tie.
28-28.